whether it's institutions or universities or individuals who feel like, I need to capitulate right now because I'm going to solve this problem and put it behind me? What do you wish they would know, knowing how Trump operates as you do?
Well, we learned from the last century that you cannot appease fascists and authoritarians. There is no safety in appeasement. And that means you've got to feel the fear, which they try to promote through their cruelty. Their cruelty serves the function of imposing a regime of terror on society. But the reason that Franklin Roosevelt said there's nothing to fear but fear itself is because he knew that people had to feel afraid but then keep going. And that's what courage is. Courage is experiencing the fear but then refusing to back down and moving forward. And that's what's happening in every sector of American society now, including, by the way, the foundations. There was a very powerful statement made by John Palfrey from the MacArthur Foundation. These not-for-profits are going to have to stand up to defend us, for example, in the healthcare field, where the Trump regime is trying to pull the plug on lots of things, including vaccination, of course, but lots of different kinds of public health efforts. And Mr. Palfrey is basically saying now is the time for the foundations to step into the breach, to use their resources to address all of these huge catastrophic problems being unleashed on our society.
That's such an interesting quote. I'm glad you brought it up. I mean, there were a lot of, it's so important to talk about the inspiring things, I think. There's a lot of dark things happening. One of the things that I thought was also very good this week was obviously Senator Van Hollen, your senator from your state, going to El Salvador. He was able to meet with Abrego Garcia. He also threatened, before he went there, he threatened that they would be violating international, they were in violation of international law, which maybe that had an impact on Bukele and the government, who knows. But I'm curious, as you're watching that sort of activity and as we're seeing the Trump administration completely open and willing to send individuals, even American citizens potentially overseas, whether threatening or not threatening, but kind of appealing to or focusing public messaging on the leaders who are doing this as part of what you think is effective here, part of what Van Hollen did.
Yeah, well, I was very proud of my friend Chris Van Hollen for what he did, because he restored the humanity to this whole controversy that's going on, and he wasn't afraid, or he felt some fear, but he moved forward and he showed everybody, yeah, we can get on an airplane and we can go and face the problem directly. And then, of course, they've been lying about the trip and tried to stage some false margarita scene there. But look, President Bukele, who's declared himself a dictator, and the other tyrants, dictators, autocrats of the world have to understand that the Trump administration is not going to last forever. We're going to restore strong democracy to America, and we will remember who stood up for democracy in America and who tried to drive us down towards dictatorship and autocracy. So I'm glad that Chris Van Hollen showed exactly where America is, and we're not afraid of any dictator anywhere.
Congressman Jamie Raskin, thank you as always for joining me today. And coming up, some more ideas about pushing back on Donald Trump right now from someone with a very interesting perspective. Gary Kasparov watched the threat of power-hungry